intends on wrecking the party they're hosting. Sounds like a simple little plot on paper, until the ghost actually shows up. First, blood begins oozing from all the severed animal heads on the wall. Yes, actual blood in a Disney show. The animal heads then begin chanting ancient sins over and over as the ghost crawls out of the fire. And to make matters worse, the only advice Dipper's journal has is pray for mercy.
Girls, now cough her up, Bobby. All right, Bobby, let's go now. There we are. It looks like I owe you a tip, young lady. But then again, playing with Bobby has its own reward, doesn't it? Yep, that's my boy. That's my boy.
Mystery Incorporated. Despite being named Wrath of the Krampus, this is not a Christmas episode of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Talk about a missed opportunity. What it is, however, is a disturbing romp through an abandoned factory, which by cartoon law is required to be unnecessarily terrifying. Shaggy calls it uber creepy, which is an understatement given that the factory is full of ultra-realistic dolls clashing with the show's simple and cartoony art style. With their hollow eyes and dry red paint blotches resembling blood, the dolls leave a scary but short impression, until their heads start turning and they begin talking, because then they leave a terrifying and lasting impression. It's unclear why or how these dolls spoke, but given the existence of the supernatural in this series as opposed to the original, the dolls could actually be possessed. If there's one thing people don't want going into a Scooby-Doo episode, it's eyeless, rotting baby dolls.
Playing with your baby corn.
But they taste off.
Do as I tell you, young lady, and finish your meal.
Okay, Bradford, that's it! You can stab me, rub my face in sauce, and splatter me against the wall, but when you insult my taste, you insult all baby corn! Hello, baby corn! Rise up!
The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack is a show that takes pleasure in making its audience uncomfortable and grossed out. From its constant use of hyper-realistic close-ups and the unsettling dark humor, it seems like the show was just made for this list. First comes the episode Knuckles and His Hilarious Problem, where Knuckles is revealed to be a candyholic, which makes him act drunk. At his lowest point, he goes through a hallucination that's more than just a little fucked up. Knuckles is tied to a raft in the ocean, as Peppermint Larry and Dr. Barber eerily inform him the only solution to his problem is candy surgery.
Hello, Pontypines. What are you doing today?
Then sticks his peppermint arms down his throat and vomits candy into Knuckles' mouth. Next we'll be looking at the cat from the episode Who Let the Cats Out of the Old Bag's House. Flapjack comes across a seemingly normal cat who he begins to play with. Then we see what this cat looks like up close and personal. That's not a nice image. Its soulless eye sockets and barracuda-like teeth are never acknowledged. They're just there. Next is Flapjack's nightmare from the episode Tee-Hee Tummy Tums. In this scene, Flapjack has a nightmare about meeting someone called the comb stranger, who gives combs in exchange for candy.
Tiddle on?
The exchange between the two is pleasant enough at first. With Flapjack thrilled to be receiving a free comb, the mood quickly changes once the comb stranger states for getting bugs out of his hair.
So useful for cleaning your sponge. How clever, Macapaca.
Thankfully, the real comb stranger in the episode is nothing like that. But you just don't forget something like that. Lastly, we'll be looking at the end of the world from the episode How the West Was Fun. In this episode, Flapjack and Knuckles head west for the first time, believing that the mythical Candied Island lies in that direction. After suffering through many hardships, the two become so dehydrated that they must drink seawater, creating a nightmare-like hallucination world where they see Candied Island, but it melts into a burning hellscape.
Go to sleep, Macapaca.
The world becomes as red and black as a Virtual Boy, while the two desperately try to get away from the now growing hole that Candied Island melted into. They find themselves in the bathtub of a sea monster who splashes them into a whirlpool.
Oh dear, Tombliboo-ee. Which way did the other Tombliboos go? Tombliboo-ee, are you going?
There are a lot of terrifying hallucinations and dreams in the show, aren't there?
Slide on in and get fighting Nemo.
Dog. Let's just jump straight into this one.
Fighting Nemo.
The cursed cowardly dog would appear in some way, shape, and or form on this list. It seems its entire reason for existing was simply to scar children. And it did such a good job at that, you can
Bill, hey, you're a clownfish. You're funny, right? Hey, tell us a joke.
Well, actually, that's a common misconception.
That left you sleep deprived.
Hey, you're doing pretty well for a first-timer.
Well, you can't hold on to them forever, can you?
Yeah, I had a tough time when my oldest went out on the
They
drop-off.
just gotta grow up. The drop-off? They're going to the drop-off? What are you insane? Why don't we just fry them up now and serve them with chips?
Hey, Marty, calm down.
Don't tell me to do job.
Pony boy. You know, for a clownfish, he really isn't that funny.
Good job at that. You can probably think of at least 10 moments that left you sleep deprived at school the next day. The first is the infamous quote, "Return the slab" from King Ramses' curse. In this episode, Courage finds an ancient Egyptian slab from their farmhouse that's worth $1 million. Eustace refuses to return it to the tomb it came from, though, and the family must face the wrath of the curse it brings.
Hey, hold it! Wait a minute, I'm trying to talk to you. Okay, fellas, come back here, please. One question. I need to, and they're gone again.
Unlike the rest of the show, which is done in 2D animation, the Ghost of Ramses is a rather stilted full 3D model, giving it an otherworldly and frightening appearance. Given that the episode aired in 2000, the TV CGI wasn't what we know now, so the models were slightly more clunky and uncanny. If anything, that just adds to the disturbing nature. There's just something about old 3D models that's terrifying. And speaking of old 3D models, our next entry comes from the series finale, Perfect. This episode has an evil school teacher named the Perfectionist to come and try and make Courage perfect. Only Courage can see her, implying that she's part of his imagination. Courage undergoes a good amount of stress trying to be perfect, and soon finds that he can't sleep without nightmares of imperfection. Specifically, this one.
I'm coming, Nemo!
Get under me, kids!
Understandably, this scares the shit out of Courage, and he decides that maybe sleep isn't the best idea right now. This thing just comes out of nowhere with its clashing animation style, abstract design, baggy eyes, and soft whispering voice. There's a sense of sadness to it, like this creature knows something that Courage doesn't. Maybe he's not perfect either. Who knows? Luckily, we don't have to dwell on that because we have yet another fucked up moment to attend to. The last moment comes from the episode Freaky Fred. In this episode, we meet Eustace and Muriel's nephew, Fred, a barber with a big, toothy smile. Fred likes to speak in rhyme and shave people against their will. In fact, he's absolutely obsessed with it. When he pins down Courage and shaves him, a disturbing children's lullaby plays, giving the whole scene a serial killer-esque vibe.
What the?
Fred's entire character seems like a child-friendly way to showcase the dangers of a